Hey, thanks for meeting me here again as we continue to go through the book of Proverbs together. Proverbs chapter 13 is where we are. And the word I want to talk with you about today is discipline, that a wise person is a disciplined person. Just the other day, one of my kids walked into the front room here and said, Dad, when I have my own kids, I'm going to let them do whatever they want. And you can probably imagine the context of that. I have younger kids, but we had given them some simple instructions, some simple discipline, and said, you have to pick up a few things in your room before you go outside to play. So clearly they did not want to clean their room. They did not like the consequences that they wouldn't be able to go outside and play. So they don't quite understand it like this, but they emotionally blackmailed me. They told me, Dad, I'm going to love my kids and let them do whatever they want. So they're implying, I know they don't understand quite all of this yet, but they're implying that you don't love me because you discipline me and give me consequences and things like that. Now, I know it gets more complicated when you become teenagers, when you have teenagers and things like that. And they might say things directly like, Mom and Dad, you don't love me because you did this and you gave me this consequence or didn't let me do this or that or the other. And so we start to think, do I love my kids? Do I care for my kids? Well, Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24 says, whoever spares the rod hates his son. In other words, whoever withholds discipline and consequences and instruction from their kids doesn't love them. But he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. And so, parent, if you are diligent to discipline your kid, you are loving them. Now, look, this also implies that, parent, you must be disciplined as well, right? You can't just discipline and give consequences or withhold consequences for that matter, out of convenience, out of frustration, out of anger, just snap off at your kids for whatever reason. No, you must be disciplined yourself and be diligent in it because why? Here's what I want you to grab. The reason we discipline our kids, and this gives us insight to discipline in general, watch this, discipline is future focused. I want my kid to grow up and know how to function in society. I want them to fear the Lord. So I love them and I care for them. And so therefore I discipline them and instruct them. And so discipline is future focused. We're not so worried about the here and now as we are about what they are becoming. I loved how Eugene Peterson described discipline. To be a disciplined person, a long obedience in the same direction. Let me say that again. A long obedience, being consistent, being obedient in the same direction. The direction is fearing the Lord and loving people. And so if we are disciplined in those ways, then we will be wise in our parenting. But there's more to that in Proverbs 13 than just how we conduct ourselves as parents, as important as that is. Listen to what it says in verse 3 of chapter 13. Whoever guards his mouth preserves his life. So we must be disciplined. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. We must be disciplined with our words. If we are wise, we think about the consequences of our words here and now, so we are obedient to the Lord in the way that we talk, so we're disciplined with our words. Look at verse 4. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing. We are disciplined in our work. We're tempted to be lazy here and now, to give yourself some slack, to take a day off, or whatever. Be disciplined. Don't be lazy. Don't be a sluggard. Be disciplined in your work. Be disciplined with your wealth. Look at what it says in verse 7. One pretends to be rich and yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor and has great wealth. And so we see in Proverbs 13, verse 7, that some folks are pretending to be rich and yet have yet nothing. What they're trying to do is put forth this image of who they are. They're so worried about what people think that they're not disciplined with their wealth, and so they spend things like they're rich. Have you done that before? Are you getting a stimulus check and already have it spent on something that's a complete waste, pretending to be rich for a moment? Look at verse 11. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. So we're disciplined in our wealth. We realize that sometimes wealth comes hastily, and that's not saying, look, I came into some money real quickly, and so therefore I'm not disciplined, and this is unwise to receive it or whatever. This is saying that money that's gained in a horrible way or in an immoral way, that hastily gained, will easily dwindle. Don't go after getting rich quick scheme. Yeah, if you get rich quick, I mean, good for you. But don't do it in an immoral way. Be disciplined with your wealth. Be disciplined with your money. Gather it little by little. And so what is this teaching us? This is teaching us if we are to be wise, we must be disciplined in all areas of our lives. We must be willing to say that we will follow the Lord, fear the Lord, with our money, with our work, with our time, with our words, with our kids, with our families, as a long obedience in the same direction. Being future focused, realizing that we might not see the flower here and now, but we're willing to plant the seeds here and now, because a wise person is disciplined and prepares their kids, prepares their wealth, prepares their words, everything for the future. Do you fear the Lord? Do you want to walk in wisdom? Be disciplined. Be consistent. Do the next right thing in the same direction.